As the war continues with Iran launching retaliatory strikes throughout the region, we're getting word from President Trump about Israel's claims that two top Iranian officials were killed in strikes overnight. U.S. Central Command says U.S. forces have hit more than 7,000 targets in Iran, while Iran and its proxy forces continue to launch retaliatory strikes. Air defense systems shot down drones headed for the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad. One building was hit, sparking a fire. The mission had been previously evacuated, and there were no casualties. And more attacks in the Strait of Hormuz have stranded hundreds of cargo ships and oil tankers. Here's what the president said as he sat down for a meeting with Ireland's prime minister at the White House.
Are you rethinking the United States' relationship with NATO possibly getting out?
Well, I'm disappointed in NATO that we spend trillions of dollars on NATO. Think of it, trillions over the years, many trillions of dollars. It's one of the reasons we have deficits and we help other countries. And when they don't help us, I mean, it's certainly something that we should think about.
CBS News White House reporter Olivia Rinaldi joins us now live. Olivia, great to be with you. What else did the president have to say today?
Well, Liz, he was very upset with NATO allies while sitting there with the Taoiseach of Ireland in the Oval Office today, repeating over and over just how disappointed he is that NATO is not stepping up to help. Now, the president and the White House has been making this case that NATO and other European allies should step in to help because they do get the vast majority of their energy from the ships that would transit through the Strait of Hormuz. And of course, that is not happening because of the conflict that is happening in Iran. The president several times today expressing his disappointment. He also called it a foolish mistake and a test, implying that these European leaders are failing this test. He repeated that he is not happy with Keir Starmer, who's the British Prime Minister, who has offered to help send in ships soon, but not soon enough for the president, who said on True Social this morning, "We don't need anyone's help anymore." He also said that the conflict in Iran should be over, quote, soon, and said that the U.S. will be leaving in the, quote, very near future, but did not give any timeline as to what that looks like. But as far as timeline and how this war could be progressing, the president did say that his trip to China at the end of the month, which was supposed to happen around March 31st or so, has now been postponed another 5 to 6 weeks. If that just gives you any indication of what they're thinking as far as when this war could wrap up and how long this conflict could take, because the White House and officials were telling us that the president is unlikely to leave the country and go visit with Xi Jinping in China while this war is raging on. So 5 to 6 weeks for that trip and its postponement. As far as the timeline in Iran, the president's still saying it's going to be over soon, but we have seen no indication of that, especially as strikes are continuing to ramp up in the region.
Yeah, that timeline says a lot, Olivia. We're also hearing today that one of President Trump's intel chiefs resigned today. Who was Joe Kent, and what can you tell us about his resignation?
Yeah, Joe Kent was the director of the National Counterterrorism Center in D.C. He essentially was the top officer handling counterterrorism in the United States, and he's the highest ranking official, the first U.S. official to resign, citing the war in Iran. He, in a letter today that was posted to X, said that he cannot in good conscience continue to back Trump's war in Iran. He also went on to say that Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation, and it is clear that we started this war due to pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby. Now, the White House has pushed back on that. The White House specifically, including Caroline Leavitt, pushed back on the fact that Mr. Kent said there was no imminent threat to the United States. They said there's many false claims in this letter, but they're addressing that one. Said that there was compelling evidence that this White House has seen that Iran was going to attack the United States first. We have not seen that intelligence this far. Excuse me. But Kent was a bit of a controversial figure here in Washington. It was difficult for him to get confirmed into his role. He was confirmed and only in that role for about 7 months now, until announcing his resignation today, citing the war in Iran.
Olivia, thank you so much for that.